welcome back to my channel for Vlogmas Day 7. I can't believe we've been doing this for a whole week now. It has been really fun, and so I figured today I would do something a little different and do like a focused video on just baking. That way I can take the day off tomorrow and just get a little bit of rest that I need from vlogging. I'm sure all of you have tasted Crumbl cookie. It's the cookie place with like the pink label, and they have all of these flavors that they change out every week. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of do a Crumbl inspired cookie that you could take to your Christmas parties. You could make these when you're baking with your family. I know a lot of people get together to make Christmas candies, and with my husband's family, we get together and we like to do cookie decorating, so I can make these for that. But I kind of just made up this recipe on the fly one day. I just wanted something sweet, and I was just trying to work with what I had. So what I did have was organic cacao powder. So it's not cocoa powder. I don't know what the difference is between cocoa and cacao. I think it's just the way the bean is harvested, I think.
Makers of raw, unroasted, or less processed cacao bean products often use the word cacao rather than cocoa, which may imply that they're more natural products. Bean to bar chocolatiers who make chocolate from scratch starting with fermented, dried beans only use the word cacao for the pod and beans before they're fermented. After fermentation, they call them cocoa beans.
Okay.
This is from healthline.com.
Thank you. Okay, so she answered my question. Either one will work, cacao or cocoa. I just have a bag of this. So we're gonna make a chocolate cookie with peppermint buttercream icing with crushed candy canes on top. It sounds so good, and I'm excited. We have something to go to tonight, so I will bring those for everyone to try. I'm excited to try the peppermint version myself. So let's get started on doing this. I'm not like the best baker, and I want to preface, I said I made this recipe up on the fly earlier. I got inspiration from another recipe, swapped some ingredients out for what I had. So I didn't actually like just whip this up in my kitchen one day. I just altered another recipe and made it into my own, and this is how I've been making it. So I really don't know how many cookies this is gonna make, so let's just do it together. We're gonna do a cup of cocoa or cacao, whatever you got. And then we're gonna put some sugar. I'm so excited to eat these tonight. That sounds so good. I don't have a bag of sugar. All I have is this little can, so it's taken forever. Well, I guess it'll help if I undo it some more. There's 1.5 cups of sugar, and then a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. I'm just eyeballing it into this cup. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And now for the fun part. We're gonna beat those together with a hand mixer, or you can make this in your KitchenAid mixer or whatever. One at a time while you're mixing. I always crack my eggs into a different container just to be sure. I have had a rotten egg one time, and that was not good. I added all of the eggs. Next, you're gonna wanna add some vanilla extract. Just measure with your heart, like 1 to 2 tablespoons, whatever you think. Ooh, that was a lot. That was probably like 2 to 3 tablespoons. All right, now you're gonna beat this all together again. All right, you're gonna wanna move this aside. Grab another bowl. Then you're gonna put 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Y'all, I had just enough flour. How crazy is that? Then you're gonna do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I hate that noise. And a ½ teaspoon of salt. Whisk all of these ingredients together really well. On low speed, you're gonna combine the dry ingredients with the wet ones, and just until it's combined, and you don't wanna overbeat it. All right, I'm gonna remove the beaters, put all of that dough in there. All right, put your stove on 350 degrees. Make sure there's nothing in your stove or your oven. I keep all my skillets in my oven. All right, while the oven is preheating, we're gonna place our cookies on the sheet. I just have some of this baking spray. I'm gonna spray my pan. And you want your cookies to be about 1 inch. All right, and this is where it kind of gets messy. I'm gonna spray my hands with this as well. You can use oil if you have that too. Just to make them not so sticky. Then you're gonna take about a 1 inch scoop of the dough and start to roll it. At this point, you could also make these into crinkle cookies. So you could roll these out and then put them in the freezer or the fridge if you have time. Let them harden up a little bit, and then you can roll them in powdered sugar and you'll have crinkle cookies. Put your timer on 10 minutes, but I think it'll take more like 12 to 13, but definitely just keep an eye out on them. It's been 10 minutes. Let's check. They look so good. Let me give them about 2 more minutes. Oh my goodness, they look perfection. I mean, they're certainly not Crumbl cookie size, but Crumbl cookie just came out with mini versions. So that's what we're doing today, the mini Crumbl cookie. They look great. So I'm gonna let them cool off a little bit on the pan, and then in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna put them on a wire rack for them to completely cool off. While the cookies are cooling off, we're gonna make a very simple peppermint buttercream. So you're gonna need 1 cup of room temperature butter. So 2 sticks is 1 cup, so I have 4 half sticks. We'll put that in there. So I saw somebody on Instagram, they save their butter paper in Ziploc bags and keep them in the fridge for when you need to grease a pan. How smart is that? I've never heard anybody do that before, and I thought that was really neat. Then you need 4 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, I have 4 cups of powdered sugar. Then you're gonna do 1 tablespoon of peppermint extract. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, then you are gonna beat this with your mixer. I forgot to tell you that add just a couple of teaspoons of milk to get the right consistency. It just depends on how room temperature your butter was and the climate and your environment and stuff like that, but you can add just a teaspoon at a time of milk and get the right consistency that you need. Oh my word, it's so good. Wow, that is delicious. I'm so excited. It's so good. I've got to do a taste run, right? So I'm gonna put some icing in the bag. And squeeze all the air out. Next, I'm gonna cut the tip. All right, let's try. Whoa, that didn't work. Okay, I tried to pipe the icing, but it didn't quite work. I don't have like regular piping bags or piping tips. So I just put a spoonful and then I just kind of dolloped it and pressed it down with a spoon. And then for the special touch, I have peppermint flavored candy cane pieces or sprinkles that I'm gonna put on top of them, and that will be the finishing touch. All right, this is the finished product of my little do-it-yourself Crumbl cookies. And we have a meeting to go to tonight, so I'm gonna bring them for everyone to enjoy. They taste amazing. Of course, I had to taste it. They taste so good. You have to try this recipe. They're delicious. Okay, before I end the video, if you're new to my channel, I've been reading a chapter of Luke every day of Vlogmas because there are 24 chapters in Luke, and it just goes through the whole story while Jesus is alive. So we've been enjoying reading Luke together. I've been reading the Passion Translation, and it's been really great. So today's chapter is chapter 7, and it is a lengthy one, not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna get right into it. Verse 1 says, after Jesus finished giving revelation to the people on the hillside, he went to Capernaum. A Roman military captain there had a beloved servant whom he valued highly and who was sick to the point of death. When the captain heard that Jesus was in the city, he sent some respected Jewish elders to plead with him to come and heal his dying servant. So they came to Jesus and told him, the Roman captain is a wonderful man. If anyone deserves a visit from you, it is him. Won't you please come to his home and heal his servant? For he loves the Jewish people and even built our meeting hall for us. Jesus started off with them, but on his way there, friends of the captain stopped him and delivered this message. Master, don't bother to come to me in person, for I am not good enough for you to enter my home. I'm not worthy enough to even come out to meet one like you. But if you would just speak the word of healing from right where you are, I know that my servant will be healed. I am an ordinary man, yet I understand the power of authority, and I see that authority operating through you. I have soldiers under me who obey everything I command. I also have authorities over me whom I likewise obey. So, Master, just speak the word, and healing will flow. Jesus marveled at this. He turned around and said to the crowd who had followed him, listen, everyone. Never have I found among the people of God a man like this who believes so strongly in me. Jesus then spoke the healing word from a distance. When the man's friends returned to the home, they found the servant completely healed and doing fine. Shortly afterward, Jesus left on a journey to the village of Nain, with a massive crowd of people following him and his disciples. As he approached the village, he met a multitude of people in a funeral procession who were mourning as they carried the body of a young man to the cemetery. The boy was his mother's only son, and she was a widow. When the Lord saw the grieving mother, his heart broke for her. With great tenderness, he said to her, "Please don't cry." Then he stepped up to the coffin and touched it. When the pallbearers came to a halt, Jesus spoke directly to the corpse. "Young man, I say to you, arise and live." Immediately the young man moved, sat up, and spoke to those nearby. Jesus presented the son to his mother alive. A tremendous sense of holy mystery swept over the crowd. They shouted praises to God, saying, "God himself has blessed us by visiting his people. A great prophet has appeared among us." The news of Jesus and this miracle raced throughout Judea and the entire surrounding region. John's disciples reported to him in prison about the wonderful miracles and the works Jesus was doing. So John dispatched 2 of his disciples to go and inquire of Jesus. When they came before the master, they asked him, "Are you the coming Messiah we've been expecting, or are we to continue to look for someone else? John the prophet has sent us to you to seek your answer." Without answering, Jesus turned to the crowd and healed many of the incurable diseases. His miracle power freed many from their suffering. He restored the gift of sight to the blind, and he drove out demonic spirits from those who were tormented. Only then did Jesus answer the question posed by John's disciples. "Now go back and tell John what you have just seen and heard here today. The blind are now seeing, the crippled are now walking, those who are lepers are now cured, those who are deaf are now hearing. Those who are dead are now brought back to life. The poor and the broken are given the hope of salvation." And tell John these words: "The blessing of heaven comes upon those who never lose their faith in me, no matter what happens." After John's messengers departed, Jesus spoke about John to the audience crowded around him, saying, "What kind of man did you expect to see out in the wilderness? Did you expect to see a man who would be easily influenced and shaken by the shifting opinions of others? Who did you go there to see? Did you expect a man decked out in splendid fashion of the day, living in the lap of luxury? Or did you discover a true prophet out in the lonely wilderness?" Yes, John was a legitimate prophet. Even more than that, he was the fulfillment of the scripture. "See, I am sending a prophetic messenger who will go ahead of me to prepare the hearts to receive me." Throughout history, there was never a man as great as John. Yet those who now walk in God's kingdom realm, though they appear to be insignificant, will become greater than he. When the common and disreputable people among the audience heard Jesus say this, they acknowledged that it was the truth and they had already experienced John's baptism. But the hearts of the Jewish religious leaders and the experts of the law had rejected the clear purpose of God by refusing to be baptized by John. Jesus continued saying, "How could I describe the people of this generation? Can't you see? You're like children playing games on the playground, complaining to friends. You don't like it when we want to play wedding, and you don't like it when we want to play funeral. Why will you neither dance nor mourn? When the prophet John came fasting and refused to drink wine, you said, 'He's crazy, there's a demon in him.' Yet when the Son of Man came feasting and drinking, you said, 'Look at this man, he is nothing but a glutton and a drunkard. He spends all his time with tax collectors and other notorious sinners.' Nevertheless, the wisdom of God will be proven true by the expressions of godliness in everyone who follows me." Afterwards, Simeon, a Jewish religious leader, asked Jesus to his home for dinner. Jesus accepted the invitation. When he went to Simeon's home, he took place at the table. In the neighborhood, there was an immoral woman of the streets, known to all to be a prostitute. When she heard that Jesus was at Simeon's house, she took an exquisite flask made from alabaster, filled it with the most expensive perfume, went right into the home of the Jewish religious leader, and in front of all the guests, she knelt at the feet of Jesus. Broken and weeping, she covered his feet with tears that fell from her face. She kept crying and drying his feet with her long hair. Over and over, she kissed Jesus' feet, and then, as an act of worship, she opened her flask and anointed his feet with her costly perfume. When Simeon saw what was happening, he thought, "This man can't be a true prophet. If he were really a prophet, he would know what kind of sinful woman touching him." Jesus said, "Simeon, I have a word for you." "Go ahead, teacher, I want to hear it," he answered. It's a story about 2 men who were deeply in debt. One owed the bank $100,000 and the other owed about $10,000. When it was obvious that neither of them would be able to repay their debts, the kind banker graciously wrote off the debts and forgave them all that they owed. "Tell me, Simeon, Which of the two debtors would be more thankful? Which one would love the banker most? Simeon answered, I suppose it would be the one with the greater debt forgiven. You're right, Jesus said. Then he spoke to Simeon about the woman still weeping at his feet. Do you see this woman kneeling here? She is doing for me what you didn't bother to do. When I entered your home as a guest, you didn't think about offering me water to wash the dust off of my feet. Yet she came into your home and washed my feet with her many tears and then dried my feet with her hair. You didn't even welcome me into your home with the customary kiss of greeting, but from the moment I came in, she has not stopped kissing my feet. You didn't take the time to anoint my head with fragrant oil, but she anointed my head and my feet with the finest perfume. She has been forgiven of all of her many sins, and this is why she has shown me so much extravagant love. But those who assume that they have very little to be forgiven will love me very little. Then Jesus said to the woman at his feet, all your sins are forgiven. And the dinner guests said among themselves, Who is the one who can even forgive sins? Then Jesus said to the woman, Your faith in me has given you life. Now you may leave and walk in the ways of peace. I love that beautiful story of the woman washing Jesus's feet and then drying them with her hair and the ointment on his feet. There's a song, most of you probably know it, by CC Winans called Alabaster Box. And it is a beautiful song, and it just talks about how you don't know the cost of my oil that I poured on Jesus's feet. You don't know the cost of my praise and what he's done for me. And he deserves all of it, no matter what the cost is. I love this chapter. It was so beautiful. I think that all of these chapters that we've been reading, they've all just talked about the miracles that Jesus had done, and it's literally all what it's about, is what he has done for us and what he continues to do, and how we can reach those around us and share that good news and give them the hope that he is able to meet their needs. And that's what this season is all about. So I hope that encouraged you today, and I hope that you can share that same love and hope with somebody that you come in contact with this season. Try to look for the opportunity to share the hope and to share his love with somebody. It is the perfect season to do that. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will see y'all tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 8. Bye, y'all.